Morning YouTube. Today is day 4 of my training block, my Ironman and 70.3 training block. What I've done so far on the first day is a VO2 max swim with some 100s, 75s and 50s. Then a hard bike as well with 2 minutes of VO2 max, still high-end stuff on those days. And then day 2 was a threshold run, 5 times 5 minutes is the main set. Still a little bit sore from that, something new. It's basically 6-7k at threshold. Then day 3 was more aerobic work, a bit recovering, some gym work. And today is day 4 where we're going to be having the long ride, 4.5 hours with intervals of 4 times 30 minutes at 300 to 320 watts, my Ironman goal pace. And then running off that for the first time with a bit of quality. I always did easy running off in the recent weeks. And now the first time will be quality with aerobic pace. So 1 hour at a 3:55 minute per K pace, which is my target Ironman pace as well. Got my breakfast here, lots of oats. This is actually some sugar-free sauce kind of. It's a thing they have in Finland here, the Finns will know it. Pretty good for extra taste. Then just the mandarin. 1 coffee, but I'll definitely have another one of those. Get the caffeine levels up before we're gonna be heading out on the bike. Alright, so before we go here, we first gotta get ready for the drink mixes. So I started already a little bit preparing. So those are my 4 bottles I'm going to be using for nutrition. Now I'm going to be aiming first for 120 grams for 4 hours, 4.5 hour ride. So 120 grams in here, here. There's some extra liquid. Let's get the rest ready. So we got my sodium, it's all self-mixed. This one is just plain up sugar. I just ordered some Morton drink mix because those I'll be using in the race. These are the gels, the big ones, the 40 grams per piece. Those I'm going to be using on the run. I'm going to be starting, it's a 1 hour run, 15k after run off. Going to be starting with 2 of those, but also there I'm going to be see how that goes. First time with running intensity, that's again a different one. So running and that, so also there I'm going to be aiming to hopefully can do 120 grams of per hour on the run. That will be the goal. I have to see what my gut says, but now I'm starting with 80, so 80 grams of carbs, 2 of those with liquid, so 1 liter per hour, maybe more on the treadmill. It's gonna be super hot. With sodium, that's super important, 1000 milligrams of sodium on the run. Now on the bike the same. I lose 530 milligrams, let's say 500 milligrams per liter of sweat. I'm going to be sweating around 1.5 liters per hour, I believe. So at least 750 milligrams, but I think I might just go to 1000. Especially with heat, that's rather be a touch higher, so 1000 milligrams per bottle. So I just mixed it myself, as I said. Morton drink mixes have 0.8 to... The Morton drink mixes have 0.8 to 1 ratio. Glucose, fructose, this is normal table sugar, you can buy anywhere. This has a 1-to-1 ratio. Obviously table sugar is not as good as a Morton drink mix, but it comes close. I don't know how close, 80% close, 90% close. But right now I'm gonna be mixing myself until my drink mix is there. But then for the key rides, obviously I have to practice with what I'm gonna be racing with. Luckily I got the gels for the run, so that one is set. And now I'm gonna be mixing the drink mix for the bottles. Alright, time to mix it up. Motivation for the ride indoors, 4.5 hours with quality is obviously not very high, but I gotta fabricate the motivation and rule it over with discipline. We are 9 weeks out from my first Ironman, so yeah, just gotta focus on those things. Let's go. Let's put here, so luckily I have one of those spoons. There I know exactly that 1 spoon is 20 grams of sugar, which is 20 grams of carbs. It's 1-to-1 straight up. So I need 6 spoons. I have this cool thing about here. It's much easier to get it in, especially for the aero bottle. It's so much easier, otherwise you don't get it in there. I normally put it in a cup pre-measured, but we do that in a bit. So 2. 2 bottles down. Yeah, the more carbs you can get in without gut issues, I think the better. Some say, okay, there's like how much do you absorb if you put 130 grams in, all those. And there's truth to that. You can I don't think people are 100% sure, but one thing is kind of sure, that everybody who pops 130 grams performs really well. So if you have no gut issues, and I think that you have to do by training it, and then still, what does your gut say to it? If it can handle it, you gotta go lower. So especially with intensity, when it comes to 70.3 running, for example, you wouldn't do 120 grams. I think there you do less, 70, 80, 2, 3, let's not mess this up. This one is a bit more tricky. So what I do there is I just fill it in a glass. So again, 6 of those. Look at it. That's just straight up sugar. That's just not healthy. But you're burning this stuff, but still the sugar is in the gut and the gut lining. So talking about health and endurance sports, I'm not sure how healthy that is to put all that in frequently. I don't think there's a study on that yet, what it does to triathletes and stuff, but we'll know in 10 years. So now I fill a little bit of water in here, not too much, because if some of you guys did this before, it's really easy to mess this up. Oh wait, whoops, almost messed it up, see? Now you have this and you can't put it anywhere. That's a bit the thing. Lucky. So I gotta put the sodium in here as well and kind of pre-mix it, because what I did before, even before an Ironman, that I kind of put the drink mix in there, in that bottle, like the Morton drink mix, a little bit of water, tried to like mix it, and I didn't practice it enough. And then I had all the sodium sitting on the top here, so all the salt here on the top, it wasn't mixed at all. So then you drink that and you get sick almost. So it's easy to mix up. So with those bottles it's easy, but with those, practice it, huh? It's not that easy to just, let's just fill it on race day, it's gonna be fine. Absolutely not. You can ruin your race if you mess this up. You got gut issues just because of this. So, all right, so 1000 milligrams, one of those tablets here is pure salt, pure sodium, only the one we want. We need 5 of those because those have 200 milligrams per pill, so 5 of those. Obviously you don't put them in right this, so you can just open them up. That's the nice thing. Now I want that stuff to be mixed, right? So I mix it up like Miracolix here. I mix it with the sugar. Oh, so tasty, huh? This is gonna be my meal for the ride. Then, all right, we got my little construction here back. Now we can fill it in. I just filled it half with water again, because I want this to be mixed. And then you can fill it in quite nice. I'm gonna do the same with the Morton products, except Morton, one of those Morton 320s, that's the name, 320 calories, that's why it's called Morton 320. One of those drink mixes has 80 grams of carbs and 500 milligrams of sodium already in there. So you gotta calculate then your own math, put that together. So before I put water in, I'm actually gonna pre-mix this a little bit. Because now it's all nice and mixed, right? Because if you don't do this, like I said, even if you would fill up right away, I don't know, maybe it doesn't mix well, you have this weird stuff. This needs to be mixed, right? Same with those. Yeah, you gotta mix it properly and then even hit it a little bit maybe with the sugar because it sticks at the bottom sometimes. Same with the Morton, it's just sugar, right? So if you don't mix it well, you have to mix it well and hit it at the bottom as well. And after you mixed it, one trick you can do is that you kind of put it laying sideways for a little bit so it mixes better and doesn't sit at the bottom. That's sometimes what I do. But yeah, I gotta test it, so I gotta see. Okay, so before we mix those as well, so again, 120 grams, this is mixed. We need to put the sodium, where is it, into my other bottles as well. So again, 5 pills, so 1000 milligrams of sodium per bottle. We have 5 here. So same thing as before, I just put 5 of those in each bottle. And you need to find out what is your sodium loss. That is so important. Carb is one thing, liquid is another, but you need to find out how much sodium you lose. And I did it back then with precision hydration with a machine, you know, like a medical device. You can measure it, how much you lose, so it's more accurate. But there's a free, on the precision hydration website, there's a free online test, like a questionnaire, which I recommend everybody to do. Because for me it was almost pretty much the exact same results as the medical device I tested with for the sodium loss. So Highly recommend. You gotta know your sodium loss because it's very different. Some people only lose, like me, I'm on the low side, 500 milligrams of sodium per liter of sweat. That is not so much. A lot of people lose 1,000. There are some that lose 2,000, even 3,000 per liter of sweat. So let's say you buy like an electrolyte drink out there and you just buy the normal one. Some normal drinks, they just have 400 milligrams. Let's say you're one of them that gets, like when you have a ride out, you get those salt stains on your pants, right? If you're one of those, I can tell you, you're losing about 2,000 milligrams. 1,500 at least. I would say 2,000 milligrams per liter of sweat. So if you're sweating in a hot day 2 liters per hour, if you also have a high sweat rate, you're losing 4,000 milligrams per hour. So let's say that's the case, and then you put in 400 milligrams, little drink, 2 hours of that ride, doesn't matter what your fitness is, doesn't matter at all, you're gonna be completely blown up to bits. You train for nothing in the race because you're gonna be having an absolute horror day. And you're wondering why? So nail those things, takes a bit of time, but it's part of the, everybody says nutrition is important, but those things are not all out there with education. So I try to share what I learned, and maybe it helps. If not, you can leave a comment below. And I also do the weekly live stream. You can always send me questions to my email, info@mattiweitz.com. Matti-Weitz.com, or just send me a DM on my Instagram for questions. Every single week we got the live stream up. Anything I know, happy to share. If I don't know, I will also tell you that, sorry, I'm not sure, I don't know. So no bullshit. So that's what I mean sometimes with the sugar sitting at the bottom here. You really gotta look that there's, not 20 grams of your construction sitting at the bottom. So I often hit it as well at the side of the pool, or when I'm swimming and I have it or whatever. I set at the pool because they actually do it quite a lot. See, like this way, you just mix it a lot. It's not even fully filled yet. I really want to make sure that it has space to slush around, and only when I feel like it's properly mixed, then I fill it up and then I mix it again. So right now, you can see, but if I would just sit it up like this in a bottle in the bike now for an hour, who knows, maybe they would still gather at the bottom. So I think it's good for a few minutes, it doesn't take long, but let it sit like this for a little bit. Feel like it just spreads out, not scientist opinion, but I feel like it helps. One thing I also do is document kind of what I do now, because I don't know, next week or whenever you might forget. So I just write it in my own comment sections in Training Peaks, what I did here exactly. So the carb, the liquid, for example now 1.5 liters per hour. I estimate now, I have also temperature and humidity in my room, but of course it's not the same as Texas, but let's do 1.5. What does my gut say? With the carb, with the liquid, with the sodium, running off, can I take it? Yes or no, pass or fail. If it's too high, I got gut issues, next time I gotta go low with carbs until I can do it, and yeah, so we'll see. I'm gonna document everything, so I need 1.5 per hour, 400 hour ride, let's say at least 6.5 liters of liquid. So I have the carb mixes here, so I gotta add water on top with that. Then same for the run, as I said, I'm gonna be smashing 2 of those, so 80 grams of carbs. I'm gonna be having a bottle of 750 milliliters of liquid, and I'm also gonna be taking 1,000 milligrams for that 1 hour run. So let's see what happens, let's see what performance says, let's see what my gut says, all of that. We'll know after the session. Alright, so we're done here. What I did do is I double checked my math, so anyways I added a bit more sodium here. I have 4,500 milligrams of sodium in total. I have 8 times 0.75 bottle of water plus 400 milligrams, 400 milliliters here. It's not 500, it's 400 max. And so that's 6.4 liters of liquid in total. Then for the run here, I put the sodium in here as well. So there's 1,000 milligrams of sodium and water and 80 grams of carbs. Those have 80 milligrams of sodium per gel, but I don't really count that. So it's not that much that influence the equation. So a little bit on top doesn't hurt, but not too low, that's important. So Jesus, gotta get all this down. Then we got all my run stuff for afterwards. Here have the Vaporflies. I'll be running in the Alpha Flies in the race, but right now I just got those. Nutrition I talked about. This is for afterwards. My recovery shake is just protein and carbs. no banana because I have a feeling my gut, I'm not sure how it's gonna be after all the sugar. Then this one, a tank top, looks a bit funky of course, but the little clothing, the less clothing the better. On the gym, lightest pants I could find. Socks, actually pretty important, I think some people forget. I would say I feel immediately if I have the wrong socks, because you slip in the shoe and then who knows, you might even get an injury from that. So pick the socks you have grip on in the shoe, and yeah, backpack, get all of that in, but time to go on the bike. So this is gonna be my home for the next few hours. Very interesting, very fancy. There, I take you guys with for the camera. Snow nice outside. Well, let's get it in. iPad is still charging for visual entertainment, so only music for the start. Let's get into it. So, sorry if sound is not 10 out of 10. Doing what I can here. Trolling, I just started. I'm gonna be trolling it here with my phone, so the my head unit reads from the power meter, which is just calibrated again, and check the battery as well, because when you ride indoors a lot, battery might run out. So it's calibrated, the power meter. It is full battery of the power meter, because if after 2 hours my power jumps out, that would be shit for data. So yeah, 20-minute warm-up with 2-minute tempo at 350 watts, just warming up the legs. Then we get into the intervals. So warm-up is done, feeling pretty good, pretty okay. Love the new bike fit, big difference. So soon heading into the first. So we have 4 times 30 minutes, 300 to 320 watt range. The last 2-3 days have been a bit funny. I mentioned it in the live stream. Some are extra fatigue, so it's an aerobic set. I'll be staying at the lower end of it, even if I feel good. First time I'm doing these big sessions with a run off, so it's not like those VO2 max sessions where, you know, highest average power is best over the intervals. This is different. If you go a bit too hard, it's actually bad. So not big gains, between 300 and 320. First time doing these sessions, so 4 times 30 minutes at 300 watts, and then running off, and then I'm gonna be happy. Alright guys, we did the first set of 30 minutes at 300 watts. Happy with this. Some muscle working, I could tell still. Muscles aren't fresh, of course, but good. Heart rate where I want it to be, kind of 148, 150. I know that outside versus trainer it's easier to produce power still. Did it all in aero position, forced myself in it. It's okay, getting used to it. First time these long intervals, but 30 minutes went quicker than I thought. I thought it was gonna be a drag, even mentally, but had a nice flow. So nutrition so far also good. First bottle almost gone, and drank a bit of water. Didn't feel forced at all. So all things looking good. 10-minute easy spin, and then we're heading into the second 30-minute rep. I check in after that. I would love to film and all these things, you know, make it more interesting to watch, but the session is more important than a YouTube video, unfortunately, for you guys, so I'm not gonna get off my bike and start filming, right? It is what it is. I'll check in a bit. Alrighty, we just finished the second rep of 30 minutes at 300 watts. Felt good. Muscular-wise, definitely easier, loosened up a bit. A little bit heart rate drift, 2-3 beats more. But I can tell I'm getting a bit warm, and of course now 1 hour at 300 watts in the bank. So a few minutes easy, and then we're doing rep 3. Now I got the iPad as well for some company. So watching some Kona or some Texas live stream, something to keep engaged. Alrighty, we got 3 reps done. 3 times 30 minutes, feels really good. Muscular wise, really in the groove for the aero position. Energy also still good, mental clarity still good. Yeah, so far heart rate also stays the same. It is, yeah, 2 beats higher, 3 beats higher. Gotta focus on breathing, but still all good. So one more 30 minutes and the rest will be aerobic. So not just easy, I could just spin it at 220 watts, which would be then very low taxation, but I'm still gonna spin it at 260 watts, kind of aerobic stuff, so not super easy. Yeah, so I got a good stimulus, but let's stay focused. I'm currently watching here Texas, really cool to see all of it, excited for it, and having a good groove. I just finished 4 times 30 minutes at 300 watts, happy with this. Last 10 minutes, could feel my legs starting to work a bit, but also, you know, mentally you're getting done, so a win for me. So I never did this before like that, at that heart rate, at that pace. Haven't been feeling good last days, so very happy that I, you know, mentally went through it really well. Didn't have low points like when you're like, oh my god, I hate this. Felt really good, which speaks of good blood sugar. I now drank 3 bottles of the 120 grams with 1000 milligram sodium. Definitely a bit less low water than I should, but also I'm not losing so much. I can tell I'm not sweating 1.5 liters, more like 1.2 max. Also the temperature is not high, so makes sense. Feeling good. Now just 90 minutes of aerobic riding, and then we're going off to the run. I check in a bit. Celebrate the small successes. For me, this is this. There's always next, there's always more. But now I'm grateful for my body being able to do this all in aero, and enjoy some good music and have a little positive, active party here now. Alrighty, transition. Bike is done. Was good, but I could tell that, you know, first really long ride, 4.5 hours. I could tell just even when the watts lower, just turning over the pedals for that long, like neuromuscularly was something new. But that's why I have 8 or 9 more of those, plus other stuff to get ready. But let's change. Also have the core sensor here for temperature. Also I'll take this one with for humidity and stuff in the gym, so I get more data. I do have a little cap as well, something I got from when I watched the Western States run from Courtney Doubtwater, the winner. It's like a special cap who has, you know, like a top to kind of open in to put ice in. Pretty damn amazing. Ordered it right away years ago. Never used it. Gonna use it for the hot races and just gonna douse it in water in the treadmill. And yeah, otherwise of course head is a disadvantage in the gym to have something on top, but I'm gonna make it wet. So I'm gonna be heading now to the gym as quickly as I can. It's opposite the road for me, not far, but yeah, of course running outside under 3 minutes transition is even better. But I got it all with my gels, my drinks, watch, heart rate belt, core sensor, so for body temperature, so see a bit what's happening in the heat. Also the temperature and humidity measurement. Now on the right was only 20 degrees Celsius and 40% humidity. So not very high obviously, but good data points. But we'll do a evaluation of everything after I'm done. It's gonna be packed as hell, so not much filming here of course, but I'll check in afterwards. Alright, just finished the run. I got it in 1 hour 15.3k at 355 pace, minute per k. Yeah, it was challenging in a sense. Heart rate was actually around the LT1 where I wanted it, but after like 30 minutes started to creep up because that's exactly what I thought before. The heat, it's a big issue. Luckily I have the core sensor because I started at 37.4 Celsius and then it crept up into the heat training zone, which is around 38.5, and then at the end was even 38.9, so that's obviously very high. And yeah, normally you cool yourself down in a race like that. Humidity was pretty high, 60-70%, and you just have no cooling, right? That's the biggest thing. So but I got it in, and next time I'll do it somewhere else, I believe, because during the big day like that and the heat, I mean, of course it's not bad if you recover from it, it's an extra stimulus, but you know, you want to arrive fresh and rather do heat training with like easy stuff, right? So yeah. Luckily I got a personal chef here, the rice cooker, doing my food. Pre-cooking is better, but yeah, I haven't done it now. And secondly, I couldn't eat anything anyways. After, you know, training our gut with the sugar, it's the same feeling after an Ironman, kind of 5.5 hours now with so much sugar. Just like, you can't eat anyway, so probably need half an hour to kind of settle the stomach and get normal. And you feel a bit hangover from the heat thing. That's a bit the thing, right? You don't want to have so much. It's hard enough, the session as it is, so the heat on top, that's a bit playing with fire. So that's why I was a bit like, and I don't like the treadmill at all, but also that's why I do it, because it's, you know, strengthening mentally, blah blah blah. But yeah, I want to do it outside in controlled environment first, and then, you know, I'm still 3 weeks before in Texas where I can do more heat and kind of adjust to the climate. That wasn't even my goal with the heat per se, but right now it's just because I have no other choices. Outside I can't do because of the ice, as I said, and the run track it was a bit too far away to make it a brick session. So very happy. I mean, you have to say, I've never done anything like this in my life, but we're gonna debrief it now. Alrighty, let's have a look at the data for you nerds out there. Let's nerd out about the data, what I did, what was good, what wasn't good. I mean, one thing right away, I don't want to jump to the run right away. Let's have a look at the data. So a 4.5 hour ride in total, a couple of PBs there. Like I said, I haven't done anything like this ever in my life. The best thing I did in the past was probably 2017 when I did, and then I had one of the best Ironmans still to date for me. What I think, although I did go faster, sub 9 in a few years ago, I felt still better in 2017 in a sense that I trained well and I did something new what I trained for. That's in the end why you train, and that's all you can wish for, that you kind of do something new you haven't done before, which isn't always guaranteed, unfortunately. But so here, let's have a look at the data. Normalized power for the ride, 275. Heart rate drift, pace to heart rate 4%. All right, heart rate average 144. Let's have a look here at the different reps. So 305 normalized power, the first one, 147 heart rate. That's exactly when I have it actually. Then the second one, 303 normalized power, 150 heart rate. They definitely got a bit higher, average. Then 305 again normalized power for the third 30 minuters, 152 average. There you see there is some increase in heart rate, right? It's something new, so the body is of course working. 306 normalized power for the last 30 minutes and 152 heart rate average. So yeah, you can tell it's working. Then the run off, here we go. Heat cooked. I mean, I knew before heart rate would be a bit funky, but actually here it says pace to heart rate ratio only 3% increase. So yeah, I want to have it under 2%, but I knew kind of heart rate would be a little bit useless to analyze for this run on a treadmill. Not useless, it's still, you know, that's how your body, how hard your body's working. But I knew it would creep up a lot because of heat, and I had the core sensor, which you can't see on the app. You need the computer to have a look at the core data. There's a trick. If you have the core sensor, you probably know. It doesn't matter for the rest. And yeah, 15.3K, 1 hour. And yeah, it was pretty challenging in the sense that I could feel, because I did that before, you know, like indoor heat training kind of stuff. And it's a different kind of fatigue. It's not your legs, it's not your breathing, because that felt really like aerobically. The legs, of course, got a bit tired. That's the idea. I have some good training days in me, plus this. But yeah, the main thing was, of course, the heat, 38.9, so pretty cooking, right? Of course, one hand, weight is never going to be an advantage for running a marathon. That's a fact. For cycling, for sure, an advantage in Ironman, I believe, because yeah, the more power you push, basically, with good aerodynamic, the better. There, the lighter guys are at a disadvantage, but then on the run, they are, depends on adventure. But I think with heat, it still depends. Let's say, even if you're a bigger guy, if you put in what you need in liquid and sodium, of course, you generate more heat than someone that's Patrick Lange, for example. That's why he does well in Kona, for example. But yeah, of course, I am aware of weight and those things. I gotta optimize those. But it's a fine line and fine thing to play with. So I think in the end, the weight will kind of naturally go to where, yeah, it's a product of your training, basically.
So yeah, but gotta optimize it. But what is the number, right? We all make up numbers in the sport. Like if it's an uneven number, let's say it's 80 or 70, whatever, we think we have to be 69 or 79. Like there's no foundation for that reasoning, right? So most of the stuff is just in our head and really unhealthy, especially in triathlon. Geez, it's unhealthy as hell when it comes to this. People just accept stress fractures like it's nothing special. If you have a stress fracture, it's pretty freaking bad. So there's so many pros out there with stress fractures, and it's not from all the running. It's mainly with stress fracture, one part of it, except you like get hit, you hit it somehow on something, or you like unluckily step on a stone or something weird like that, which is a rare case. Otherwise, it's always a calorie deficiency is one part of why you get a stress fracture, always. So if you get a stress fracture, if you have it or had it, and you didn't make the self-awareness and didn't make the step to say, okay, I effed up with the diet. If you still have this unhealthy mindset, which I know a lot of athletes personally that do have this and didn't think diet was the issue, they just see what kind of self-image with weight they have, and that's a problem, big problem, because you're never going to perform. There's no performance if you're in a calorie deficit. So, but yeah, that's my 2 cents to that. Amazing day, never did anything like it. Gonna recover now. My heat-cooked brain, gotta drink more. My personal chef rice cooker is almost done. Food, lots of calories today because tomorrow is another big day, which I hope to film again. Anyways, less cinematic stuff, I'm aware, but I gotta do what I gotta do. To training always first priority above YouTube and everything else, obviously. I'm not a YouTuber, I'm an athlete, and I try to do my best to document it. And obviously, once my wife has more time, and once I can get a videographer and all those things, it's gonna be way easier. But so far, this is a one-man show. I'm doing my best, guys. If you enjoy this type of content, feel free to comment below, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.
Never go slow.